Welcome again to Dion S Fine Art. I paint, I sculpt, spend a lot of time on each sort of piece. I don't really like, you can't really rush a sculpture in a way, either kind of small or large. So here we still have Kalmana, the Maiden Reaper. If you see here, I kind of refined the scythe blade a little bit more. And I just want to say hello to a great inspiration. His name is David Lemon. And he's a great sculptor, an amazing genius sculptor. And in one of his videos, but I've practiced his techniques for a long time, but one of his techniques is to use wax dipped fabric and create the robe for the figure with that, and then place clay over it. So you can still see the robe here. This is the back, here's the hood, here's some flowing wrinkles. This right here is going to lift up a little bit more and become a little more rounded right there, sort of like air is fluffing up the cape here, the cloak. And so I just want to show you how I found you apply the clay over the surface of the fabric that has been dipped in wax, okay? And for this situation, I used my little cleverness and cut apart this toothbrush to use this end part down here and the sides here for a real great smoothing effect. I found what you got to do is use very tiny little bits of clay like this. And for instance, we'll fill in this area right here. And so you place the clay right on top of kind of on the previous clay that you placed to mold it down to the end of the fabric. And what you do is you kind of push it, you support the fabric underneath here, so that when you do push it, it really adheres to that wax on the fabric. You can spread it out a little bit with this. Consider this sort of a silicone tip tool, basically, where I didn't have to order it online, I just made it. I found that sometimes I just make things and it works. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, but sometimes it works well. And so then what you can do here is when the clay is on the fabric, you can actually kind of even mold it a little bit better and get the ripples of a cloak. And for instance, okay, so here's a little part on the cloak where we want this to sort of ripple here, and so I kind of push it and then sort of push it and form it this way to get the, I don't know, sort of this flowing ripple effect. And the great situation here with the David Lemon technique is that it keeps the cloak very thin. And I may not even put clay right here. I may just let that be very thin. And so, for instance, I made the cloak, cut it, and sized it with scissors and just with this regular burgundy colored fabric right here, okay? And I cut the cloak and placed it on there and sort of made sure it was going to look good. Then we melted the wax, dipped the fabric in the wax, let it drip off a little bit. It's really hot, but you just got to touch it and deal with it. And we formed it over the clay body, sort of something like this. It was sort of something like this, where we just placed it over the clay itself. And it sort of, in a way, melts and forms to the clay because it's so hot. And then, to create the hood here, I took another piece of fabric, fit it, and sort of formed it over her head, over the statue's head, and then make sure it's long enough, and make sure you have plenty of fabric, and leave yourself enough room to kind of cut it and form it. Now, what I want to show you next of just some ideas that I had here about the statue. This flowing robe end here, classic on Gothic Grim Reapers. It's reinforced with the brass mesh flat metal, and it's just kind of wrapped around the armature's arm there. And what I was thinking of doing is taking a piece of fabric, dipping it in the wax, and creating ones that are kind of longer. See, I'm just showing you some ideas that's just coming into my mind. So look at, you can kind of imagine. So you can kind of stick the fabric on there and see what it would look like, right? Let's see here. Kind of. Oops. See, maybe make it hang down really long like that. I don't know. That's for another video coming up. Mainly, I just wanted to shout out David Lemon, who I was the first one to really see. He was the first one I saw do the fabric dipped wax, or wax dipped fabric, and use that as the form and, in effect, armature, a flexible armature that would very much resemble a robe. Anyways, until next video, I'll update you on these statues and others. Thank you.